Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon Note. My name is Ben, and if this is your first time here, thanks for checking out the channel. We'd love it if you'd consider subscribing. We do bourbon reviews every Monday and Thursday, and we do live streams on most Wednesdays. So getting into the video here, I went out and did some bourbon hunting recently for my birthday. Figured I'd treat myself to maybe a special bottle if I found one. And I do have over here what I consider to be a pretty killer bottle haul. I got 9 bottles, so stick around till the end of the video and I'll show you what I picked up. But in the meantime, I'll show you a couple of the stores that I went to. Didn't get footage of all of the stores just because some of them, it just wasn't easy to film because there's a lot of people, and try not to be rude with the camera out and stuff when people are trying to shop. But I did get footage of some of them, so let's check those out. So the first stop here is Haskell's in Minnetonka. So this WB Sample or whatever, I think that's from Wild Turkey. I just kind of heard about that for the first time, so let me know in the comments what the deal is with that, if you've ever heard of it. There's that James E. Pepper barrel proof I've been hearing a ton about, and the Traveler I've been hearing a ton about as well. I gotta be honest, I'm not interested in that bottle at all. Got the Elijah Craig A24 for 90 bucks. And then a couple of other Elijah Craigs are there. Got a couple of Booker's Expressions. Those are becoming a little easier to find around here. B523 still sitting on shelves. Got the Private Barrel 10-year age stated. All of those were 90 bucks, which is about the going rate in Minnesota. That's just kind of how it happens to shake out here as far as the price on those go. I know they're a little bit cheaper in some other markets, but I've never had any of these Fibonacci blend or Equinox blends by Stellum. I like the Stellum stuff I've had, but I've never had their kind of higher tier stuff. So again, let me know what you think of those if you've had them. Got the Calumets. I've had those. I have not owned a bottle, but they are actually really good. There's some fairly standard stuff. I'm a little bit interested in that Jepson's on the top there, those Jepson's store picks. Because the little amount of experience I had with Jepson's is actually really good. And then over here, bam, Old Forester Single Barrel 100 proof. I had actually walked through the store before filming any of this and totally missed that. So glad I ended up filming and caught that one. Got some Larceny Barrel proof down there, and then some standard stuff. All right, now let's check out Total Wine in Edina. Is it Edina or Bloomington? I don't know. The one off of 494 in France Avenue. So Bondstone right off the bat here. I know our friends Laura and Troy over at Baker Drinks hate Bondstone cast strength, but the Double Oak is actually not bad. Those Angel's Envy store picks, let me know if you've had one of those, because I'm very curious. They're $100, so I haven't bought one yet, but I like Angel's Envy. I just think that it's way too low proof. So there's some new Spirits Direct stuff. I don't know what any of this stuff is, to be honest. So I just kind of passed by that stuff. Got the Calumets again. I haven't pulled the trigger on one of those, but I have sampled them, and they're really good, but they're just expensive. Got the Toasted Barrel. That one's not really for me. The Elijah Craig Distillers Collection, or Ezra Brooks Distillers Collection. I'm interested in that one because their single barrels are great. And speaking of single barrels, you saw the Bullet Single Barrel. I don't know when that became $68, but that seems a little ridiculous. Got the Heaven's Door stuff, some McKenna. That Heaven's Door Homesick Blues is a total bust, by the way. If you haven't had that, it's not great. So the I.W. Harper Cabernet Cask, and then this Gentleman's Cut. I think I heard somewhere that that's like a collab with some NBA players or something like that. I don't know. I could be totally wrong about that, but I feel like I heard that somewhere. Kind of the regular offerings here. McFarland's Reserve is a brand that I actually like exploring. That McFarland's Reserve 13 is good. It's overpriced at Total Wine. I know of stores that sell that for, $50. Total Wine sells it for $100. Awesome buy on the old Grandad 114 for $27. Can't beat that. Those old Emmers right there, I actually sampled one day, and when I had them, they were pretty good. So I'll probably buy a bottle of that at some point, especially the cask strength was good. Passed by a bottle of that Jefferson's Tropics, and to bring up Troy and Laura again over at Baker Drinks, they said that one was really good. So I'm kind of interested in that, but I just haven't dropped the $100 yet. So Woodford Double Oak, I was shocked by that price, but that's actually a liter bottle. So Not selling the regular one for 72 bucks. Got the new version of Wild Turkey Rare Breed, new label. Does that mean it's new juice? I don't know. It seems like Whiskey Tube seems to think every time a bottle gets a new label, you know, the flavor changes. I don't know if I buy that, but haven't had this. Total Wine seems to be selling a lot of Barton 1792 source stuff, and I'm hit and miss on their sourced bourbon. I really like most of their offerings, but their source stuff can be kind of wonky. That Maker's Private Select, 80 bucks. Total Wine, for whatever reason, charges out the ass for their Maker's Private Selects. It's a little ridiculous. Got the Sinatra Select there, and the 2XO. That Sinatra Select I've had before. Just get a bottle of Cooper's Craft. Save yourself the money. These barrel products that are ridiculously expensive, I've never explored those, so I can't really speak on that, but they're a little bit too rich for my blood. So I'm a little bit interested in trying that Woodford rye. I've never had a rye from them before. So we got some Old Elk stuff here. Old Elk's a great brand, but they're so expensive it's hard to, you know, kind of collect them. And then we got some ryes. Mostly standard stuff. Ryes and American whiskeys, actually, they kind of blended together on this shelf. Just had the Jack Daniel's Bonded Rye. That was good. Haven't had the single barrel regular proof rye. Rare Breed Rye is great. I feel like the prices on those are coming down in Minnesota, which is nice. They were getting a little bit out of control with the pricing on those, but they seem to be kind of leveling out a little bit. Those Keeper's Hearts that you see there, that's a Minnesota distillery. They blend bourbon and rye with Irish stuff, and Old Elk again. I've only had one Oregon Spirit, and it wasn't great. I'm interested in this Bullet single malt, but I don't know if I'm interested enough to buy it. All right, now let's check out the Cove. This is a brand new store in, actually, I don't know what town it is. It's east of St. Bonnie, north of Victoria. I don't know what their actual address would say their town is, but pretty good selection, actually, and pretty good prices. So this one just opened up like a week ago. The Lucky 7, the Frenchman there, we did a review of that. That was really good. But haven't explored all of their products yet, but we have gotten into a bunch of them. Non-bike riding Dave Vogelsang sent us a bunch, so those are pretty good. Got the Old Foresters here. Got most of the Whiskey Row, if not all of it, except for, of course, the 1924. But yeah, this was a nice store that just opened up. Nothing crazy here, but you know, again, a decent selection at, you know, fair prices. I do want to get into these RD1s. I have not loved the Amberana finish stuff that I've had yet, but I've had an Amberana finish rye and then the Penelope Rio, which is Amberana finish and honey finished, and I didn't like the honey influence on it, so I haven't had just an Amberana finished bourbon yet, and I think that RD1 is probably going to be my first one. J. Carver, that's a Minnesota distillery in Waconia, Minnesota. I'd like to get into more of their stuff. This 1776 has been recommended by Bad Axe Bobby from Bad Axe Bourbon. I have not pulled the trigger on that one yet. I'm still a little bit skeptical because I think it says it's aged like 2 years or something like that. But if Bobby says it's a good buy, I tend to trust his opinion. So I'll probably pick one of those up in the future. Blade and Bow, I know people kind of are, you know, hit and miss on that one. I actually liked it. I just think it's a little expensive. And then we've got all the Jack Bonded products, which I've liked all of those so far. All right, let's get into the bottle haul. So, what did I pick up? All right, first off, I did get a couple of basic things because you have to have some basic stuff on the shelf. Old Grandad 114, picked this up for $27. You just can't beat that. Greg and I do a live stream show called Proof Points where we'll take a few bourbons that are the same proof and pit them against each other in a blind flight, see what wins. It's a lot of fun, and our next proof point bracket is around that 115 proof, so I figured I'd pick this one up. That would be a good one to add into the mix of that. Also picked up, got this at Sam's Club for $39.99, usually $49.99, so 10 bucks off on that. Never had this one before, looking forward to it. This one just became available in Minnesota like a year ago, and so I finally got around to picking one up, so look out for the review of that coming soon. Another one that's a little bit more on the basic side, but I've actually never had before, is Bullet Barrel Strength. Picked this one up at Liquor Boy in St. Louis Park. This one I've never had, and I've always been meaning to. Usually runs around maybe 60 bucks, I want to say, around here. Found it for $49.99 at Liquor Boy, so that was a buy. I'd been meaning to pick one of these up anyway, and so at the cheaper price point, I figured, you know, why not? And speaking of Liquor Boy, while I was there, they actually had on the shelf, or in their little glass case, they did have the new, what I think is the new Woodford Batch Proof. It's like 170, 180 bucks. At that price, I'm out. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I've had a couple of the Woodford Batch Proofs and they're good, but I don't know. It seems when they're charging like MSRP, like 130 bucks, like, come on, Woodford, you can put out a cask strength bourbon for cheaper than 130 bucks. So as much as I like them, those are kind of a pass for me. They also had George Dickel 17 year, which I actually incidentally had a pour of at a bar this last weekend. It's really good. It's Dickel, and I know that's kind of a divisive bourbon, but it was good. They also had some Knob Creek store picks for $49.99, which is a great price for that, and they had cases of Booker's, was it 2023-04 for 90 bucks, I think. So, which in Minnesota, that's about 10 bucks less than usual. So anyway, now getting into some of a little more fun stuff, a little harder to find stuff. I did pick up, this is new to Minnesota. I don't know if this is gonna be hard to find in the future, but this is the James E. Pepper Barrel Proof. Hadn't had this one before. Saw this on the shelf for 70 bucks. So I decided to pick it up and hearing a lot about this bottle on the internet. So looking forward to doing the review on that one. So look for that review coming in the future. Picked up Elijah Craig Barrel Proof A124. So these typically run about 90 bucks is kind of the standard in Minnesota. Sometimes up to 100. At that point, I'm kind of out on those. But 80 to 90 in Minnesota. Found this at Sam's Club for 65 bucks. So obviously that's an automatic buy. And while I was at Costco. Found this at Costco for 65 bucks. And while I was at Costco, they actually had a Midwinter Nights Dram, what is it, Season 11, Act 3, or however they describe those. And I think that one was like 120 bucks or something like that. I was tempted on that one. I've had two of the Midwinter Nights Drams. One of them I was profoundly underwhelmed by, and one of them I thought was great. But the price point on those, it's kind of one of those things where I had some more stores to shop at, and I didn't want to drop the 120 and then not have the money to buy at the next one. It just wasn't a priority enough for me, but I know a lot of people love those bottles, so I'm sure they sold out in an instant, but they had a whole bunch of them on the shelf. So, next one, I did pick up the Old Forester Single Barrel 100 Proof. So, as you saw in the video, I actually got both of these at that Haskell's location. This is, pretty much new to Minnesota as well. We have the barrel strength ones, but not really the 100 proof ones. And so I've heard nothing but good things about these. I'm a huge fan of Old Forester anyway. And so I was extremely excited to see this on the shelf. 80 bucks, had to pick it up. So look for the review of this one coming out as well. So now these last three have a little bit of a story behind them. These bottles have been sitting on the shelf at a liquor store for like I've known that they've been there for like 2 years. I was really interested in them, but they're 375 bottles, like 375 mil. So they're the smaller bottles, and they were $48 a piece. And so I keep passing on them, but I always would see them sitting up by the counter at this one liquor store. It was MGM down in Chanhassen, and literally collecting dust. And so finally I was like, you know what, screw it. I've been so curious about these bottles. I'm gonna go in and pick them up. Finally went in there, and luckily they still had them. So these are the Jim Beam, what is it, Harvest Bourbon Collection Signature Craft. And it's 3 expressions out of, I believe they released 6 of them. And what I think is cool about these is that this first one here is the Soft Red Wheat. This is an 11-year age-stated 90 proof bourbon from Jim Beam. And this is a standard wheater. ditched the rye and used wheat instead. And that's what they did on all of these. And these other ones are actually different grains. This one is also 11-year age stated. This is the brown rice recipe. So again, no rye, just brown rice instead. So that should be interesting. And then this last one is the one I'm maybe the most curious about. Also 11-year age stated. This is the whole rolled oat, 90 proof. So again, no rye. They used whole rolled oat, whatever that is. And I'm interested in that one just because I've never had an oat whiskey before. So anyway, looking forward to getting into these. I think we're gonna actually just film an independent review of each one of these and just have a Jim Beam Harvest Collection week. So look for that coming up in April here. So anyway, yeah, that's the bottle haul. I'm super excited to get into these and just to have some of these more, basic ones on the shelf. This is a great everyday sipper. So yeah, anyway, thanks again for watching. And again, if you're new to the channel here, please consider subscribing. We'd love to have you along for the ride here. We have a lot of fun on the channel. And the funnest part is actually interacting with all of you guys. So the more of you that are out there that are commenting back and joining in the live streams, the more fun it is for us. So anyway, this has been the bourbon hunting and the bottle haul. On the bourbon note, I'm Ben. Till next time, cheers.